It's like waiting for an exam, detention.
We're waiting for him. Hello, this is Richie from the Metal Cell podcast. I am delighted to welcome Owen from 100-Year-Old Man. How are you, man?
I'm good. How are you?
Fantastic. And Howard, co-host, cohort. And he's wearing the t-shirt as well, man. Respect.
How are we doing, Richie?
We're all good. We're all good on this beautiful sunny day. Owen is up in Scotland at the moment.
Yes, taking advantage of the bank holiday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Fuck it. It's a bank holiday over there, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Although you wouldn't really know it, but it is.
Have you actually, you've probably toured a fair bit up in Scotland, Owen, have you?
A little bit, not as much as we'd have liked.
Right.
We've been up here a few times, but only recently, only in the last couple of years. You know, the usual Edinburgh, Glasgow. We've been up to Aberdeen. That's about it, really. We were due to play a festival in May up in Edinburgh, which has been put off till next year.
What one was that?
It's the what's it called now? It's Red Crust.
Oh,
yeah. I think it was the first time he's done like more than one day, possibly. I think it was a big deal. So I think most of the bands have moved over.
There's a brilliant scene in Scotland. I don't know, do you follow it much?
I mean, historic, like back in the day, my old band used to play up there quite a bit. And I knew guys from Black Sun and Zilla and that. So we played with them a few times. But in all honesty, fairly out of touch.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, we're sort of just starting to dip our toe back, as I say, in the last sort of 18 months or so.
We've had King Rich over a couple of times. They've done maybe 3 or 4 shows here at this stage.
They're great, those guys. Yeah.
Great guys, yeah. And Laura's got some voice.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, that's one of those things where it fills the room, you know?
Yeah. That was a brilliant album they released there as well.
Yeah, the last one.
Yeah. Again, it's such a risk, isn't it, releasing an album into a void and not being able to tour it or anything like that. It's something that every band probably have to consider now. You're in that same boat now, Howard, aren't you?
We are, and with the Magnapina and Partlow in both bands, we have an album done in the final stages of mixing at the moment, and we're kind of not in any rush to put it out at this stage because we can't really follow it up at shows. You know, it does give a good spread to get some press done, maybe get some reviews in and things like that. But ultimately, that has to lead somewhere, and currently, that doesn't seem to be leading anywhere. So a lot of people are left sitting on things, wondering what to do. It's a difficult problem to figure out, and it's only been 6 months since this thing kicked off, so it's a very short amount of time too. So I think everybody's still learning and figuring out what is best to do going forward. No one really knows.
What about HYOM as a band? Is it a topic of conversation with you?
Yeah, I mean, similar situation really. We started tracking a new album last year, and then in true 100-Year-Old Man style, things happened that meant that we had to put it on hold for a bit. And then now we're sort of in a situation with COVID where we can take as much time as we want to get it done. It's pretty much there, but we're not in any rush to put it out, not under these conditions.
Yeah.
I think the plan currently is to just make use of this extra time that we've been given to make sure that we've done the best job we can. We've booked some more studio time now to sort of finish up a few bits and pieces, but we've also written some new material. So more things to put in the pot to go towards the album. So I think we're probably looking at next year. But whenever we can tour again. that'd be when we're looking to release.
As a band, then, would you have set aside a certain budget for videos on the back of maybe touring or merchandise and sales? So is that budget there for you now, we'll say, to make maybe 2 or 3 videos for songs that are coming further down the line, you know, rather than wasting few months just...
Yeah, it gives us... Yeah, I mean, these are all things that we're talking about now. I mean, we've had a bit of a... for version 1 of the album, if you like, we had an idea of what was going to be the lead single, and you know, and sort of when we want to tour and all that kind of stuff. So we'd started talking about the financials and obviously the people's holiday from work and things like that to promote it. But all that's now not really relevant anymore. So yeah, absolutely, talking about music videos and you know, now we're a bit further into the recording process with it all, and pretty much in the mixing stage with some of it. It's you can start to sort of see things and get ideas, and we don't have to rush to try and get things done, so we can proper chew things over. And we've got a big WhatsApp chat that everyone just spews ideas in all the time for various things, from music videos to
pornography
and everything.
Sucking and fucking.
Oh Lord, who are you actually working with? Owen, are you able to tell us?
For the record,
yeah.
So we're relatively sticking with the same plan as the first record. So we're self-produced for the most part. We have brought in an engineer for some of the sessions. It's a guy called Tom Goodall from Leeds, who's involved in a lot of the Leeds music scene. Got a lot of mutual friends, and he's worked on a lot of records that we like local bands. So he's been helping us out. It's quite a more complex, bigger record than the first one, so we definitely needed that help. But for the most part, we're sort of doing it ourselves. We have got someone slated to mix it as well with us, sort of take the helm, whereas we did mix the first one ourselves and went bald and went grey very quickly trying to do that, so we won't be doing that again.
Yeah.
But
have you any kind of interest in doing that, Howard?
Yeah, I mean, but I think ultimately what it leads to is realizing that you need someone else to do it for you. And I think you probably have to go through that process of trying to figure it out yourself to realize that you can be too close to things, and sometimes you need an impartial party to put a bit of sense on it and kind of say, look, you know, if you want to get it done and done right, let's do it this way rather than the way that you're dreaming up in your head. It depends on the band, I guess. But yeah, I think ultimately it always leads to that. You need someone to give you a hand, you know.
Yeah. You released Ascension, wasn't it, through the COVID-19 pandemic?
Yeah,
it's a remix.
It was
re-record or remix, whatever.
Yeah, it was basically because we had our singer up from the first EP and album. He left the band in 2018 now, so quite a while ago, and we still haven't actually released anything with our current vocalist. But he's been a long-time friend and contributor to the band. He actually sang on the original album version of Ascension, but doing the backing vocals.
All right.
So we just, because we had nothing else to do, we re-recorded the song from scratch, and everyone shot their parts, filmed it separately at home, and so yeah, it was kind of we got the original vocalist back as well, so it's kind of dual vocals, and it was sort of almost like a passing of the torch, I suppose.
And Angela jumped in as well.
Yeah, Angela, she's a long-time friend. I used to play with her in a band called The Son of Missa, who are on the same label as us, and her other band, Tomorrow We Sail, are also on Giza. So we sort of known each other for quite a long time. And at the time of recording, she was my lodger.
Always helps.
It was very easy to ask her, and obviously she had all her touring and everything had been cancelled, so it was kind of something to do. But it made it. I mean, yeah, it was kind of. It started off as there's a horn section that the other guitarist Tom played some French horn on the HYOM version. And so we thought, we'll get somebody else to do that part, but with a different instrument. And then obviously he suggested Angela. So it started off as just do it with a viola at the beginning. And then she ended up just doing the whole song and making it sound absolutely humongous.
Cool.
So, yeah.
We listen to a clip of it here, if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure.
Let's do it.
That sounds so huge, the production on it.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, just listening to that there now again, I mean, it just instantly, you can feel that sort of wave of emotion from the times we played shows together. You know, that initial buzz of being it for the first time live. So yeah, right away, we're back in that place. It's fucking great.
We were really surprised how well it came out, to be honest. It was quite challenging. Not everyone was set up to record. You know, some of the guys had to learn how to record, you know, and then, you know, send me the files, and I kind of put it all back together again in the computer in my studio at home. But I was really, really surprised at how easy it came together. It was actually, you know, I was expecting to have to spend a really long time polishing things. It all just slotted together really nicely. So.
And how did Oliver Shillito come into it then?
He is a friend of our singer. He's a guy from Manchester. He's worked with him with other projects. I think they did like a thrash album together or something. Very different genre. And he just helped us out mostly with production and polishing the mix for me, just to the master element. But he's long-time collaborator with our singer.
Yeah. Do you think last year's show that you did, the one-off show that was Breaching, did that help with the recording of this?
It didn't, because we didn't play that song.
Yeah, but just the crew being back together and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, the conversation, that was a strange show. It was a number of things happened that meant that people who were currently in the band couldn't do it, and then it sort of just felt like, well, you know, we ended up having to get our original vocalist back, and then we just thought, well, let's make it a thing and record it. So we took some gear down and tracked it, and obviously got the original bassist back, and yeah, that was good. It was only a couple of rehearsals, and then it was sort of like, you know, back in the early days, back before we released an album.
Yeah. Is it, what you think, Howard? Is it good to get ex-band members back for once-offs?
It depends who the ex-member is.
Could you see Five Will Die do something like that?
Well, we all finished on pretty good terms with Five Will Die, and it would be fun to do things together again, but I don't think there's any appetite for that, you know. But I think with a band like 100 Year Old Man, you do fluctuate in terms of members all the time, and it's a credit to you keep going. But I can certainly see how ex-members would catch up with things again as you go through different stages of what you're doing. I mean, it makes perfect sense to have ex-members come back in and do things, because I feel like if you're a member of 100 Year Old Man, you're kind of always going to be a member of 100 Year Old Man. You know,
that's very true for some people. Yeah, they don't.
Yeah.
I mean, we still work with Paul, our original vocalist. He still does a lot of artwork for us, and obviously Aaron's filled in on bass a few times. So it's and there's been other shows and things where it's almost happened before, and we've been able to work things out. So we sort of, anyone that's ever either filled in or permanently for a period of time been in the band, everyone's kind of, you know, as long as it ends well, which there's always that, you know, we always keep that dialogue open, and as you say, once you join the band, you don't really leave. You might,
you're kind of on standby.
You just go on the bench.
What were your memories of Ireland when you toured it? Was it last year? Was it? It was it?
Yeah, we've been over a couple of times.
A couple of times, yeah.
Yeah, for Monolith. We'll talk about the Monolith one, I suppose, that tour. You played Dublin, Belfast, Cork and Limerick.
Yeah, it was, I mean, the shows over there are always great fun. We always love coming over. And that was, there was some fights. But yeah, it's always good fun. We'll always really enjoy it, and always make new friends as well. That's the thing. You go over, you play a show. We've been trying to play Belfast. We've been trying to play Belfast since we started, because we used to play there in mine and Tom's old band, and just going over there and, you know, seeing old faces, but then you always make new friends in Ireland, always. So that's great. And
we're a persistent bunch. We'll chase it down to the fucking down to the bar. Come on.
yeah. There's a lot of bar action, shall we say?
Yeah, there was a lot of drinks taken in both rounds you're over.
Had you much time to see them, Howard, when you were working Monolith that day, weren't you? You were like ferrying.
I took the time.
Yeah.
I took the 40 minutes to come and watch. Fuck it. I just, you know, I'm a big fan of 100 Year Old Man. Like I said to you when you asked me last time, Richie, who were three bands you go on tour with in the morning? 100 Year Old Man are top of the list, you know. You're just a fantastic find, fucking great band. Love watching you play live. Even watching you set up is a fucking treat.
I'm not sure
if
that's sarcasm.
It's like Tetris, you know. Just watching the lads just put everything in the right place at the right time, and there's no fucking around, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4, off you go. I fucking love it. It's a pleasure to watch.
It can be quite challenging.
Yeah, especially with the amount of members and gear.
6 people, everyone's got gear. Even our singer's got a pedal board, so it's it can be quite challenging. But
I remember you played up in the jam rooms in Blackpool here. We did a live stream.
That's right,
myself and Ed were watching you put your stuff together. I swear to fuck, we felt like giving you a round of applause when you're finished setting up. Like, it was so textbook. Anybody with OCD, I'd recommend go watch it, or those oddly satisfying videos on YouTube. Fucking go watch 100-Year-Old Man set up.
Jesus Christ.
Well, Tom, the other guitarist, he's a retired professional sound engineer and guitar.
Yeah, all the signs of it.
What you think us setting up is good? You should watch him pack a van. It's
that's a whole different level of professionalism.
that guy can pack a van like you wouldn't believe.
I'll have to get a private show. Tell him.
In our old band, we had a lot more gear, believe it or not, or a lot more cabs anyway. And there were 3 guitarists with full guitar stacks. So there was literally, and both Tom and I had keyboards and all sorts of stuff. It was way too much stuff. And there was literally only one way of getting everything in the van. And it was called Sweatress. And only Tom knew how to do it. It was, we were all just stood around waiting for Tom to show us where to put things every night.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's a skill.
Yeah, I came across you in Bloodstock, would you believe, Owen?
Oh, great! Yeah,
yeah. Myself and Sean from 10 Ton Slug, we were watching it. It was great, and you went from the New Blood stage. Did you go then to the Sophie stage the following year? Was it?
That's right. Yeah,
2 years in a row. Like, that's very unusual.
Yeah, I think it's happened a couple of times, maybe, but it's not common.
No.
Yeah, we were obviously as surprised as most people expect to be, being asked to come back, but absolutely loved it. And it couldn't be more different. The Blood stage is a great opportunity, and it was a lot of fun. But opening the whole festival on the Sophie stage was sort of definitely a what the F moment.
Yeah.
Pretty much all of us. And we took, it was the first time we actually took some crew. We took a guy to do lights for us, who also did lights for us at the Damnation Festival as well.
That was a huge, plus.
Yeah, makes a big difference in someone who knows the band as well. He's Tom used to play in a band called Baal. And he's seen us play lots of times. He knew the songs really well, so he was able to build lighting and design the lighting that would fit the show really well. Although he did break the lighting desk.
Is it something that you think about quite often, Owen? Because it was one of the things that struck me when I saw you on the tour was you had your own lighting system on stage, which was very basic and very simple, but so effective.
Yeah, it's something. I mean, from pretty much from the first show, we actually had mine and Tom's old band. We had a similar setup. We had some lights and some foot switches to turn them on and off. So we kind of just naturally took that idea into 100-Year-Old Man, where actually it was a lot more effective given the type of music. So that idea that the sort of the switching lights has always been a thing there from the beginning. But obviously for us as a relatively small band, you do what you can, don't you? And if you play clubs, it's generally a couple of work lights and a foot switch.
A smoke machine.
Yeah, and a smoke machine. Yeah, that was a pretty good investment. Yeah, we're actually at a point now where we get quite upset when we can't use the smoke machine. Turn up at a venue and we're not allowed. It's quite disappointing.
I've never seen so much smoke as I saw in the Siege of Limerick that time. Holy shit! I mean, it was obscene.
Disappeared.
Yeah, when we did the Damnation Festival in Leeds, we told the guy who was in charge of the smoke machine that there was no such thing as too much smoke. And then when we got all the videos, people came back and you couldn't even see the band. It was just like a haze of smoke pouring off the front of the stage.
It's filming fog,
Oh, God. What about the name? Where did the name come from, Owen? For those that don't know much about the band, and how did you start?
There's a lot of debate as to where we first came up with the name. But the first time that when we decided on it, we had a couple of names kicking about for a while, and when we started, we were a 3-piece. We recorded a record as the 3-piece, and then we started writing. We decided we wanted to expand the band and bring in other musicians. So when we started writing, the first thing we wrote with the idea of being more than 3-piece was Black Fire. And there's a sample that we put in Black Fire, which is a gentleman called Harry Smith, who was giving a speech at a Labour conference. And he talked about being nearly 100 years old. So that was kind of like, it's a bit on the nose, but we kind of thought, well, it's a memorable thing. It's a memorable name. And I remember at the same time, or roughly the same time, I think the book,
The Man
Who Climbed Out Window,
That's
that
a great
had
book.
come out. So yeah, it's not, I don't think it's any thing. It was just this, it kept like 100-year-old man just kept kind of coming up, and then we'd be like, I don't know, suggest something else. And then in the end it was like, well, we want to put something out, so we'll just stick with that. And it makes sense because there's that sample.
Yeah, cool. And songwriting for yourself in particular, do you find it best just to leave things happen organically, or do you try and sometimes force an idea through?
I wouldn't say we ever force ideas. We have a number of different ways of writing in the band, and it's generally in a computer. So we used to play electric kit guitars into pods into a computer, and then just to a metronome and chop up ideas, and someone would come along with a riff, and we'd jam through it and chop it up in a computer. And then once we'd arranged the song, then we'd go away and start trying to play it in a room.
Okay.
That was when we were sort of renting rehearsal rooms by the hour, so it made more sense to go in prepared. But now we've got our own space. We've got a studio set up in the practice room, so everything's amped up, mic'd up, and we just record as we play. So things are a bit more organic now. So we can sort of, let things happen naturally. But we do try and focus on writing when we're writing. So we tend to say this is a writing session or this is a rehearsal session. But that's about as forceful as we get with it, really. It's we don't try, and we certainly don't say, I want to write a song about this topic, or I want a song that does this or does that. It is fairly natural, and just let songs go where they need to go, I guess.
Room to breathe.
I mean, the other thing with us is that because we've had so many people come and go, anyone that's in the room can contribute. So even when people aren't necessarily, long-term members of the band, if they're there and they've got an instrument in their hand, they're happy to, then, they can contribute. So we've got, on the first record, there's collaborations. On this new record, there's a number of collaborations that we've done as well. So yeah.
I think I've got some sneaky footage of you guys singing along to Magnapina up in the jam rooms as well.
Oh.
I think you all grabbed the mic each and we had a bit of a sing-song. One of the funniest things.
Yeah. Is that online?
It's on SD card somewhere. I must drag that out.
Good luck with trying to find that amongst the other million and one things you've kept on SD.
A terabyte, Richie. A terabyte
Christ,
of data related to footage of the Magnapina doing stupid things.
Were you on one of the podcasts, Howard, when I just brought it up that Irish bands don't seem to collaborate enough? How would you feel about that,
You're probably correct, Richie. But at the same time, I think Cork is a very similar scene to Leeds in that it's a bit inbred, in that you'll find one or two members of bands are in a lot of bands.
Yeah, cross-pollination.
Cross-pollination.
Yeah.
So I suppose it's not a collaboration, but it's definitely a crossover, a blending in of things. But collaboration, you don't really see much of it at all, really, do you?
No, I'd love to see it.
Nothing comes to mind immediately, It'd be interesting, yeah. I can see it happening with the Magnapina for sure,
Yes, yeah, definitely, yeah.
Like that'd be prime candidate for it. Get a horn section in. We've collaborated with two ladies, Martina and Marie, on the album with Magnapina, and it's a big part of it actually. So I guess you could call that a collaboration.
Yeah. Yeah. I just.
Oh yeah, G-Ren as well. Jesus Christ, yeah. I mean, there's a song on the G-Ren album. I think half of Cork is on the fucking.
Yeah.
Now that I think of it,
Owen, it's one of the best albums ever, but it still hasn't been released. But
still hasn't been released. Yeah,
everybody has heard it. Yeah.
And nobody has it.
I've got a couple of those on a hard drive at home.
Yeah, I think I might release it myself at this stage, Richie. I have it in a Google Drive.
Go on. Yeah. Put it out as a release. I'll promote it like mad. So a song like Rhea, is that how I pronounce it? R-E-I?
Ray,
yeah. Okay, Ray. Like you literally came up with that. Was it on the day itself?
Couple of hours.
Yeah, and so that was completely different to your normal kind of writing process. So could you see the benefits of doing that as well?
Absolutely, yeah. I think we. I mean, there's stuff on the new record where I almost brought a whole song to the band, and one evening sat down with the guitar, and by the end of the evening I'd written a song and took it to the band, and we played around with it a little bit, structures and things, but it was mostly there. And Ray was pretty similar. Tom and our drummer at the time, Steve, he was they were jamming. We were in the middle of recording Breaching, so we were recording, and then we just found the bits that made sense and stuck it all together, and that was pretty much a song. So yeah, absolutely. We like I say, we don't overly scrutinize everything. If something works, it works, and we don't question it. So yeah, there's some songs that take months and months and months and months and then don't even end up on the record they were being written for, and then other things just happen really quickly.
What about the album art? How important is it in relation to the matching of the themes and emotions of the music?
The artwork is that's a big question, because we haven't really done anything that sort of we've kind of had an idea from the beginning that we've kind of stuck to, and we're trying to move away from that now. Yeah. So at the moment we've got a big folder in a shared drive, and everyone just.
You're not going to go rainbows and unicorns, for example.
Yeah, I mean, there's no rules, so anything goes until we find what we're looking for. But we had for the first record, we had a fixed vision of what we wanted, and that sort of dictated the artwork for the first couple of releases. And that sort of vision came from the vocalist who was on those recordings. Obviously, we were involved in that, but it was very much his idea.
Yeah, it's a bit of a different process than just drawing a squid, Richie, isn't it?
Yeah, I was going to throw it out to you there as an artist yourself.
And put a few bits of bread over it. There's your fucking album cover, Bit of garnish. Put it on the beach.
But as an artist yourself, Howard, like I've said that to you before. I mean, especially with Partalon, the songs, are they in any way related to the art, or is it vice versa?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think I said this to you before about just constantly flashing different imagery in your head as you're playing the songs and things, and trying to capture one of those in your mind's eye, I guess. and make a mental record of it and try to articulate it on paper. With part alone. Yeah, I mean, it's a constant thing. It changes all the time, but there's always an element of a theme going through it, I guess. But what that is difficult to articulate, and I think that's why you need the music, you know.
Yeah.
It's a big part of it. Maybe a bigger part than it seems. But I think with bands like Part Law and 100-Year-Old Man and bands of that ilk, the art does become very important, and it does become an important part of the story, and it's just an extra layer to what you're trying to achieve with things. But then you go to the Magnapina and you draw a squid and put it between two bits of bread and you call it art. So I mean, horses for courses, I guess.
Yeah, very much so. Especially, yeah. Go on.
I was just saying, you just know when it's right, don't you?
You do, and that's it. Yeah. And it's about trying to capture that moment and trying to capture that sort of atmosphere about something in an image, which is very difficult. But you're right, you know it. Like when you see it, you know it.
I mean, I remember the first time I saw the artwork for Breaching. It was immediate. You know, we'd gone through, I don't know, 50, 60 photographs. We had the scheme, but we didn't fab the photos, and we went through all these different photographs, and then just like a friend of a friend had this photo. It you know, and as soon as we all saw it, the whole band were just like, that's it.
And that's mad. And the thing about that artwork in particular is just how it was sort of coincidental, or just sort of, I don't know, it came out of nowhere. It wasn't meant to match, and then it fucking fit together like a glove. You know, the stairs and the 100-Year-Old Man logo over it. I mean, you can't account for that. That just kind of came out of fucking thin air and makes perfect sense, and that would be it, you know.
Then there was the nerve-wracking sort of few days where we were wondering whether we were going to get the rights to the photo.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, of course.
It was you know, it was somebody sent some examples of their photography. So we didn't know if we could use it. We didn't know if it had already been sold or anything. So we were, we were at that.
Yeah, I think that was meant to be somehow, you know. Fucking, I don't know. Of course, butterfly effect stuff.
Yeah, because of course you are also thinking as well, how well will that image work on a T-shirt or on a long sleeve?
Yeah.
You know, there's that whole side of it as well.
That's right. I think that often is an afterthought. I think when you're thinking of T-shirt and merchandise and so on, I think it's a wrong way to go about things if you come up with an image that fits and you're thinking, I can't use this because it wouldn't look well in merch. I think it's a secondary thing, you know. Generally, we try to do our merch different than the album artwork, something a little bit more suited to the T-shirt medium, I guess. You know, and it's a different thought process.
It took us 2 years basically to actually put that image on a T-shirt. We've still only put it on a long sleeve.
Yeah.
We knew. I mean, you know, we knew it would work. We knew we could do it.
Yeah. I mean, you do know if it will work on merch, but I suppose it isn't a deal breaker. You know.
Yeah.
No.
Especially when it's so important as well for bands to get money in as well. There's certain bands that stand out a country mile for their merch alone.
Yeah, 10 Times Slugger, I think, are a great example of it. Their fucking merch is great.
Yeah. And, you know, there's a good few. Grey Stag as well. Grey
Stag, yeah.
These are Irish bands. Like, for you, Owen, how do you gauge how well your merch is doing? Is it like just through online sales or through gigs, or is it a mixture of both?
It's a mixture of both, really. We did a experiment with sort of selling through other shops online, and obviously, you know, letting other people sort of manage our merch, if you like. We've moved it all back onto our own Bandcamp page now, so that's where all our physicals go for merch and music. So, you know, when you're active, it does well. When you release new music, it does well. When you kind of haven't released anything for a while, it's, you know, ticks over. We always we always kind of put more emphasis on the shows for merch. So we try, when we know we're going to do another run of shows, we'll try and do a new merch design, a new T-shirt.
Yeah.
So we've got some designs that were supposed to be for shows we were going to be doing this year that we're debating whether to just put them out or whether we hang fire until we're actually doing things again. But I mean,
yeah.
Sometimes you do something and you think it's a cool idea and it doesn't do very well, and then other times you do something like the T-shirt design we did for Bloodstock was a bit of a tongue-in-cheek, bit of a joke, play on the Doom artwork, and it sold like wildfire, and it just kept selling. So we kept printing it.
Cool.
It was always meant to be a little bit of a kind of like cheesy, like, joke. But
it tends to be the merch that does better. I mean, 10 Ton Slug have done something similar too. They had the horror poster stuff for Bloodstock, I think it was.
Oh yeah, brilliant.
The thing sold like fucking hotcakes, and then you spend a year doing a design and no one fucking buys it.
That's right. And then the forest tee that you're wearing, Howard, that's that was the second design we ever did, and we're still selling it now. So and we're not bored of it yet. I think when we get bored of putting it out on the merch table, that's when things tend to get retired.
But more than any other genre, the heavy metal genre for T-shirt sales must just knock the shit out of anything else that's out there.
Yeah, I mean, it's 30% of a band's day, I guess. Any band that comes and plays a big show, 30% of their fee is on their merch. It's huge in this kind of environment, I guess. But yourself, Richie, every gig you go to, you pick up a T-shirt. If you haven't got it already.
Yeah,
it's like vinyl, I guess. That's another side of it. It's the kind of music where people will collect vinyl. It's all, I don't know. I think it's a demographic that listens to this kind of music.
Yeah, and wants to support it. They put their money behind it.
We're like
basically
moths flying into a light bulb, like looking for merch and things to collect.
Speaking of which, thanks for sending on the nice clips of the Partholon vinyl as well. I'm still trying to figure out what colour I will go for, but there's a colour scheme in the studio upstairs now, and I'm just trying to
maximising profits. Sell 3 of the same thing in a different colour,
That's it.
When are you going to announce that sale, actually?
Well, we have it already. I mean, it's arrived. It's been here over a week now, and it's looking great. Very happy with it. So what we're doing at the moment is we're just building a bit of press around it, and I reckon about maybe 3 to 4 weeks' time, we'll be putting it up for sale. But it's all we could do in the pandemic. It was something we were thinking about doing anyway. We were hoping to do it in conjunction with a new album, but obviously things happened, and that hasn't happened. So we're releasing a limited number of 300, I think it is, 3 different colours, purple, green, and then there's a mixed splatter. And that's kind of what we're at the moment. It's nice to have it in our hands, but it looks great.
Exactly, yeah. And look, I have the CD, but will I get the vinyl? Of course I will. It's a no-brainer. You know what I mean?
But will you get 3, Richie?
Ooh, I actually didn't think about that.
They'll be at a very reasonable price too. We're not looking for a massive profit on it. It really is something we just wanted to do for ourselves and the time that we had recently, not being able to do new stuff. So we're not going to flat either. We're going to put it out at a very reasonable price. Are
you one of those people, Owen, vinyl obsessive?
I probably sit somewhere in the middle. I definitely I like to buy records from bands that I like personally.
Yes, same. Yeah.
So I have, I do tend to buy vinyl from bands that I play with. There are only a handful of bands that I will collect these days, just simply because I don't have the space. Particularly, vinyl takes up a huge amount of space.
Unless you're collecting cassettes.
Yeah. Yeah, so I do have a few cassettes. Yeah, they don't take up much room and they look nice. So yeah.
And you've a release on cassette, don't you?
Yeah, we've done. We've collaborated with a record label who do cassettes. So we've done a re-release of Ray at EP and Breaching with both with extra tracks.
Nice.
Just because they contacted us and I like cassettes, so we just thought, well, we'll give it a spin and see what happens. So they seem pretty happy with them and they look cool. So
yeah, they do. Yeah. Like, again, I have a cassette player, I always make sure that they're in the house, along with probably 3 video players as well that will refuse to be dumped.
If you've got 500 quid, Richie, you can buy yourself a bargain. Go to magnapinabandcamp.com and there's a...
I throw the ball up and he hits it every time.
You're one of the few people with a VHS. We can do you 3 VHSs in 3 different colours if you like.
Blue plastic, red plastic,
One's going to be pink, though. You have to have a pink plastic one. I think that's...
Yeah, I'll put it alongside my Dirty Dancing video cassette. Yeah,
the perfect place for it.
And Tango and Cash. Jesus Christ, man, we were spoiled back in them days, lads.
Yeah, I remember renting videos out of the back of a guy's or was it one of those hatchbacks?
Yeah,
you used to pull up and pull back the blanket, and you get 3 videos for a $5. You'd be watching lines baiting through it, trying to get the tracking right.
Fucking tracking, yeah. Pause, tracking, yeah. Jesus Christ. We had the best of times, man. Fucking spooling those cassettes.
Yeah. Yeah, listening to your Walkman and the battery's going in it and the song sounds slower and you're thinking that sounds better slower. Many a riff has come from a slow fucking cassette tape,
Many a shit cassette had sellotape put over it and re-recorded over it as well. Oh, for fuck's sake. So, Owen, has the process for yourself changed much from, we'll say, you write music back in your bedroom to what you're doing now? Has it changed much?
I mean, it changes all the time for me. I try and spend a decent amount of time in my studio every week, so I'm constantly trying new ideas and trying to start with different instruments and things like that. I'm not, especially with 100-Year-Old Man, I'm not always 100% sure it's going to be 100-Year-Old Man when I start it, and things kind of gradually go in a certain direction. I mean, I started like a lot of people probably my age did with a Tascam cassette 4-track. And then I moved on to one with a hard drive in it, but it was basically the same principles. And now I have, Pro Tools and all the rest of it. So the process for me, I suppose the only thing that hasn't really changed is that I write while I record. I'm not one of these people that sits down with a guitar and a piece of paper and a pen and writes a song and then goes and records it. Everything is the same process for me. So I'm recording while I'm writing, or I'm writing while I'm recording. And that's kind of my approach in everything that I do, not just in 100-Year-Old Man. But then because 100-Year-Old Man is a collaborative environment, people come to it in different ways. So, we've got guys in the band now who are there with their sheet music and their writing their bass lines and their keyboard parts out. And they're going,
Jesus.
It happens to the best of us,
Hey, I mean, it's good. It's good to have that,
for sure. It's for sure, And you realize you've been speaking the wrong language for fucking 20 years when people come in with their sheet music and, you're fucking punching the guitar with your fist.
Breaking them strings. Yeah. What kind of process do you go through, Howard? You don't?
Much different than Owen's. But what Owen's saying there, we did a lot of that with the Magnapina release, the recent, the Squid Sandwich one. That was more the the process that we use. It was my first time doing it that way. I found it very effective, but I don't think it would marry well with the part alone stuff. I think with part alone, I write it on acoustic guitar all the time.
Okay.
That's where it starts.
Right.
Everything starts in acoustic guitar and voice, just that. For want of a better way of describing it, is just to be as vulnerable as possible with yourself, and just to see if I'm not going to take the piss out of myself and break myself down over what it sounds like, then, I'm onto something good. So it starts from breaking it down to its bare bones and building it from there and presenting it and getting everybody else to contribute to it.
And are you recording that as you're playing acoustically, or is it just you have to work through it a few times and then record that acoustic?
It depends. If I am recording it, it'll just be onto my phone.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. Owen knows what this is like as well. When you write something that you're happy with, you never forget it. It's not a matter that you need to go back and play it back to see what you were doing. For me, anyway, you play it, you know it, and you never forget it. And that's kind of part of my process as well, I guess. If something I'm not really remembering or connecting with instantly, I'll rarely revisit, You write a song and 6 months later it's still there. It hasn't really gone away. So that's a big part of the process.
Yeah. So
it's a pain in the ass, Richie. Songs for fucking part alone. It's exhausting, but it's necessary. I think for what we're trying to achieve, it needs to start at that point. It's very rare I've gone in and had a riff and we've just built it from the floor up in the moment. It's something usually that I've spent a few weeks with, getting comfortable with myself with it, and then being comfortable enough to present it to somebody else. I need that fear.
Yeah, so I'll ask both of you then. So what was the best advice you were given in relation to music?
Don't be shit. It's the best advice I've ever gotten. Yeah, carry it to this day. Try not to be shit.
Who gave it that? Can you name?
I'll give you one guess, Richie. He plays drums and he's got his fucking glasses.
Okay. What about you, Owen? Did anyone actually take you aside at any stage and just go?
I've had so much advice over the years. It would be hard to pick one, really. I suppose the best advice that I gave myself was that if it's boring to play, then it's probably boring to listen to.
Yeah, that's good. That is good advice. I wish more bands would take notice of that.
You get 3 months into rehearsing something and you can't be bothered to play that song anymore.
Yeah.
Group.
Fucking hell.
Don't waste time recording it.
Yeah.
That said, we've had fights internally where people have wanted to bin things off because they don't like it. So it doesn't always apply. But yeah, I think as a group it does.
Yeah.
I think it's more you learn as you go, Richie. In terms of advice, you just learn. The more, the better you get at it. The more you see other people doing it, and you pick up tips and tricks from just watching people and playing with people and seeing how they present themselves on stage, see how people react to it. There's just so much to just learn by being at the gig.
Yeah, and to know what as well, I hope you'll confirm it as well, Owen, but just in the scene in general in Ireland, there's a great kind of community, and as Howard was saying there, even you could go up to another band and go, well, what did you do there? What effect were you using there? There's no kind of secrecy about it. They'll share whatever.
I think that's a universal thing. Certainly in the sort of the scenes that we both play in.
For sure.
You get approached wherever you are. We played a couple of shows in Sweden and Denmark, and, band were really shy. Their English wasn't amazing, but you could talk about gear with them, and they were, as soon as you came off stage, they were, what was that? What pedal were you using there? Or what does that pedal do? And then you become friends afterwards.
It's such a regular feature of playing a gig in these circles, is talking about gear, and it's just part of it, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so that's the great thing about the Irish scene anyway. that I've noticed that people will always help each other out in relation to even borrowing gear as well. And, you know, God knows yourself, Howard, how many times have you jumped in and helped, say, Con, even ferrying bands around, you know?
Yeah, we all help you out. I mean, the only way it's going to work it's such a big thing to take on by yourself, you know, and you know, Con is great for doing it, but everybody needs a bit of help. Everyone needs a hand, you know, and it's easy to shit on people, but, you know, we're a very close community here in Cork, from what I see, from what I know, and the bands that are playing, particularly in the last couple of years. It wasn't always like that.
I'd say not.
But in the last maybe 4 to 5 years, there has been a real change. I think everybody that's been in it as long as I have, certainly it's in the conversation about how things are like that now, because it really wasn't always like that. There, you know, the early 90s, mid 90s, coming up to the noughties, the scene was just so fractured. It was just ridiculous, you know. Bands refusing to play with each other because of who a person was, or some ridiculous reason that made no sense, you know. Tribalism, I guess. But as time has gone on, we all know what we're trying to do, I guess, and we're all in it together, and it's essential to have everybody help each other out.
Exactly.
Otherwise, you're going to hit a fucking brick wall and go back to the way it was, which wasn't good.
You can see the results. You can see the results now.
For sure.
I mean, we always get really, really well looked after over there. Always.
You're handsome boys as well, you know.
But yeah, you know, gear problems, people helping you get gear on stage, helping you get gear off stage. You know, things go wrong, guitars break. Someone's there already before you even have to put your hand up. You know.
Yeah.
Which isn't the case everywhere. That is
no, it's not, and I guess there's still a bit of that in the UK where some gigs you're taking a chance with it in terms of who you're playing with and who you're playing for. It doesn't seem to be that here at the moment. It seems every gig is at a certain level of cooperation and collaboration, I guess, that's working. There's very few gigs that are happening that you're going to be ripped off in, or you're going to be sold out the door, you know?
Yeah, it happens, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm just going to give you one last one there, Owen. Out of all the songs that you've wrote and put the record, that if you had, we'll say, an unlimited budget to make a video for, which song would it be?
Ooh.
That's a good question, Richie.
Not for the band, no, your opinion.
My opinion.
Yeah.
There's a track that's going to be on the new record that's the longest thing we've done.
Jesus, okay.
It was clocking in at about 20 minutes, which it definitely won't be that long. But so
you'll qualify for the Cannes Festival with that, like, you know.
Yeah, I'd pick that one just so that I could make a short film.
Have you got a title on it? No.
No, we don't actually.
It's a working title at the moment.
I think there's it's possibly going to be called HYOM, because our singer likes that title at the moment and no one can think of it.
Okay, so we'd say you've got your 20-minute epic. Who would you get to direct it? Again, unlimited budget.
Unlimited budget. Michael Mann.
Okay. Very good.
Yeah.
That was a great question, Richie.
I don't know if he's ever done a music video, so I mean, but yeah.
He's still alive anyway, that's the main thing.
Well, yeah.
Michael Mann didn't he start off with Miami Vice?
Yeah, he did Miami Vice, he did Crime Story. 2 shows in the 80s, both very good, if you like the thing.
Howard, man, Miami Vice, you and me, what you reckon?
I reckon we've got the right tone for it anyway.
I mean, yeah, loafers and linen jackets for 100.
I think we'll have to use Nissan Micros though, Richie. I think that's the limit of our budget, you know. I've got 2 in the drive there. One each be fine.
Yeah, a tannin studio and a fucking shelter somewhere around Cork to keep the rain off us. Oh my God. So, Owen, listen, thanks a million for coming on the show, man.
Thanks, man. It's a pleasure.
Yeah. And,
Absolute pleasure, man. It's great to see you again.
Yeah.
You too.
Yeah, and hopefully we'll see you on the shores next year at some stage with the lads.
Yeah, God. Fingers crossed.
It's going to happen. We're myself and Owen have been talking already before, and we're going to make something happen in some way, shape, or form as soon as we fucking can.
Brilliant. Okay. So you've been listening to Owen and Howard. Thanks again, lads, for joining me on the Metal Cell. Take care.
Thanks, man. Cheers.
Cheers.
in our sights, our backs against the wall as we prepare to fight.